Welcome to the Finance and Administration Committee meeting for Wheels Bus. It is August 23rd, 2022. And if we could have roll call, please.
Yes, Director Hernandez.
Present.
Vice Chair Kick.
Here.
Chair Narum.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Great. At this time, we'll open the meeting to the public, and anybody, members of the audience, can address the committee on any matter within the general subject matter of the LAVTA Board of Directors. Do we have anybody in attendance? It didn't look like it. No.
We don't have anybody in attendance, and I didn't receive any public comments via email.
Okay, great. So let's move on to agenda item number 4, approval of the minutes from May 24th for the Finance and Administration Committee.
Hernandez.
I
have no comments. Hernandez, go ahead and approve the minutes from May 24th, 2022.
I'll second.
Thank you. Can we go ahead and have a roll call, please?
Yes, Director Hernandez.
Aye.
Vice Chair Kick.
Aye.
Chair Narum.
Aye.
Motion
Great.
passes.
Agenda item 5, the Treasurer's Report for June 2022 and for July 2022.
Okay, so let me begin with June. And let me preface this by saying that this is a preliminary report for June. It is accurate as of the date that I wrote it. It does not have all the June accruals in it. We literally just got some revenue numbers today from ACTC. They're usually the last ones, so that should be about it. The cash accounts won't change because that's the balance, the money that went into the bank as of June 30th. So that won't change. But our expenditures and revenues will. So as of the time I wrote this, we were at 77% on our expenses. We do expect to come in under budget on our expenses this year. Although we were over budget on fuel, because of the last few months, we're coming in under budget on our operating, our purchase transportation costs because we never got back up to full service, which we had budgeted for. And our revenues at this time were at 86.2%. But again, not all the revenues were in yet. Revenues always come in way slower than expenses. Yeah, especially those reimbursement ones, and you send the bill out and they're not in a hurry to pay. Luckily, we keep a healthy cash flow in our accounts to make sure that we're covered there. So that was June. Any questions on June before I do July?
Nope, I think go ahead.
Hold on a second, something weird popped up on my screen. Okay, so July, which is accurate for July, other than the starting numbers, the beginning numbers for the year are not accurate on the report because they're the ending numbers for June, and I won't have those yet. We won't technically have them till the audit's done, but we'll know pretty much where we are pretty quickly. So for July, the first month of the year, our expenses are at 7.92% overall, and they shouldn't be higher than 8.3%. The first couple months are a little weird because we do pay like 90% of our insurance costs all in July. And our benefits are usually a month ahead. So if you were looking at just expenses for July, it would actually be lower. And then our revenues are only at 0.2%, but that's completely expected because again, they're never in a hurry to start sending checks out. We have plenty of cash. We have, plenty in our checking account, plenty in our LAIF to transfer over to cover things as they come up. I thought I was going to have to transfer money over to pay something on the parking garage, but then we got a $7 million check from MTC. I think it was actually at the start of August, but nonetheless, our cash flows are fine. And that's it. I just need oh my goodness. I just need the committee to take action to send these to the board and recommend that they approve them.
Okay.
I will recommend that we move this to the board.
And I will second.
Okay, great. Let's do a roll call.
Director Hernandez.
Aye.
Vice Chair Kick.
Aye.
Chair Narum.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to item 6, the 2022 audit of LAVTA's financial statements.
So,
And-
oh, sorry.
I was just going to say welcome to Vicky. She just popped on. Haven't seen you for a while.
Yes, nice to see some familiar faces.
So I am going to turn this over to Vicky. I will just say that next week our auditors will be here virtually, doing the actual audit. So we should receive everything in October. We'll have all those final numbers and all our reports for you and be ready to send it off for our ACFR award. I would like to introduce Ms. Vicky Rodriguez. As some of you already know Vicky. Vicky used to be our audit manager, and we have to rotate that out every so many years. So she was replaced by David Alvey, and now it's time to rotate out again. So Vicky is back. She is familiar with our agency, although she hasn't been gone that long. Yeah, many things have changed, but she is familiar with transit, and that's kind of the most important thing. So Vicky, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Before you do that, excuse me, I just have one question, Tamara. I probably should know this, but are we in the middle of a contract with Maze, or?
Yes.
And how many years is it? Where are we in that?
Okay, don't quote me on this. I
I
think we have
won't.
1 year after this one. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure I need to go out to bid December, January time.
Okay, so we're generally following the norm of reviewing the auditors within a prescribed.
Yes,
time period.
we haven't actually replaced the auditing firm in quite a while. The last time we went out to bid, we did receive 2 bids. The other firms scored considerably lower, mostly because they left out a whole section of what they were supposed to supply. And I thought, yeah, that's not who I want working on my CAFR. So they got no points for that. But yes, we do go out to bid, and we send it out, to pretty much every firm we can find. The bid before that, I think we got 6 or 7 different firms who responded.
All right. Thank you. I just was curious about that.
Yeah, I'll double check, and I'll shoot you an email. I think this is the last year, but it might be next year.
Okay, it doesn't matter, just that we are on a schedule to put it out to bid
Yes.
every so often. That's all I guess I'm mainly concerned about. All right, Vicki, sorry.
Okay, thank you. No problem, no problem. So yes, nice to see some familiar faces from other organizations that I've worked with. It's been 6 years since I've worked on LAVTA's audit, so I'm happy to be back and to be working with Tamara. So this part of the audit, or this communication, is really part of our audit standards, and that's to meet with the audit committee or an equivalent committee, just to provide you with an opportunity to ask any questions that you have about our audit scope or anything that we do in it, and as well as just to kind of communicate what our responsibility is, what management's responsibility is, and just make sure that everyone understands, what it is exactly that the auditors do. It's also just to open up the communication, so you have at least met me face to face, even if it's virtual, so that throughout the year, if you do have any questions or concerns, you can always reach out to me with those questions, concerns, or if there's been any allegations of fraud or any issues with non-compliance, things like that, just to make sure that we as the auditors are aware of all of these things, so that we can make sure that we are integrating them into the audit approach if needed. So I did provide our audit communication letter to the Finance and Administration Committee, which you received in your packet. But I wanted to confirm that we are performing the audit of the financial statements for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2022, for both LAVTA as well as the Tri-Valley, San Joaquin Valley Regional Rail Authority, which that is completely new to me. That definitely wasn't a part of it 6 years ago. So we're auditing the financial statements, and then we also perform compliance audits over measures B, B, and F, as well as the Transportation Development Act, and the single audit, which is the grant compliance audit of federal awards. So our responsibilities as the auditors is to express an opinion on the financial statements, basically saying whether we find them to be fairly presented in all material respects, in conformity with United States generally accepted accounting principles. As part of the audit, we do consider the authority's internal control over its financial reporting, as well as with compliance with grants and laws and regulations. And we do perform tests of compliance with the laws, regulations, contracts, and grants. As part of the audit and reporting, we also do review the required supplementary information. That would include management's discussion and analysis, which is written by management, as well as the schedules related to pension and other post-employment benefits. So we don't technically audit those, but however, we do review them. We do some testing just to make sure that they appear reasonable to us. We also, we have been engaged to review the LAVTA schedule of operating revenues and expenses by function. That's included in the report as well. So we do review that schedule. However, we do not audit the introductory section of the ACFR, the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, or the statistical section. So those are sections included in the report. However, we do not audit those areas. As far as our plan scope, I just kind of wanted to give a high level review of what we do in the audit, again, in case you have any questions. So basically our audit team, including myself and the manager and in charge, as well as our audit associates, we do get together to do a brainstorming of the financial statements. And we determine what areas are of higher risk. If that's risk of fraudulent reporting or just potential errors or misappropriation. As part of the audit, we gain an understanding of the internal controls and all of the different accounting procedures. And then we perform tests of those significant accounting cycles, such as, the receipts, deposits, accounts payable, payroll, journal entries. Those are the main accounting cycles where we'll test a sample of transactions just to make sure that the internal controls are operating effectively. So that portion is part of what we call our interim audit, which we did complete back in May. As Tamara mentioned, we will begin the final phase of our audit next week. We have obtained the general ledger from management, and what we do for the final phase is we'll perform analytical review. We send out third-party confirmations. We test specific transactions if they're significant. And then we review and test the reconciliations to make sure all of the account balances tie. And then as well, we do tests of compliance with the grants and laws and regulations. And then we also assist in preparation of the financial statements. However, we do feel even though we assist in the preparation of the financial statements, we still maintain independence because management has the skills, knowledge, and experience in order to be able to review those financial statements. So that is our plan scope. At the end of the audit, before we issue the final financial statements, management does provide us with a letter stating that they provided us with everything that we would need for the audit and that everything that they have provided, they believe to be accurate and true, and that they've disclosed to us anything that we would need to know for the audit. We have met with management and we'll meet with staff to talk about any known instances of fraud or allegations of suspected fraud, or any areas where management or staff feel are more susceptible to fraud. And so that's an interview that we do during the process so that we can make sure, again, that we integrate any procedures in our audit to address those concerns. As far as audit timing, as I mentioned, the interim phase we conducted in May. We will be performing the final phase next week. So we'll be following a similar calendar to the past years as far as the issuance of the financial statements, as well as the meeting with the Finance and Administration Committee to go over the audit draft, and then before it goes to the full board. One of the things I just wanted to bring out is just communicating. Again, this is two-way communication. So if you do have any concerns about fraud or non-compliance with laws and regulations, I would appreciate if you contact me directly. And again, this can happen throughout the year. It doesn't have to be right now in this instance, but today, but basically anytime throughout the year, if you have any known instances of fraud or any areas that you have concerns about, or if there have been any allegations from outside parties, or also if you are aware of any related party transactions, we would need to know that as well. And related party transactions, just some examples, that would be like transactions between the authority and its employees or any of the appointed officials. And so I have provided my email address as well as my phone number. So anytime throughout the year, if you have any concerns, please do contact me. And with that, for now, are there any questions related to the audit scope or what we do in an audit, or anything that I can address at this time?
Anybody, any questions?
Vicki, I think it would just be really good to just kind of give like a quick basic 101 on, just for the viewers that do watch or will eventually watch this video, is kind of just like a quick rundown on, I mean, we obviously do these audits in all of our cities, but just to kind of show the similarity on what we do at the LAVTA board level.
As far as like the our audit procedures, or
Correct, just more like the procedures and you know, what is it that you're looking for or looking at to be able to.
Yeah, so basically, so this is a financial statement audit. Well, two parts really. So there's a financial statement audit, and that's where so management and staff have been reporting their transactions in the GL, and at the end of the year, they issue an ACFR. That's the annual comprehensive financial report that does go for an award. And so what we're looking at are the significant balances or material balances, just to make sure that they appear fairly stated, that they do look accurate. Again, in an audit, we don't test 100% of transactions, but we do sampling. We test specific transactions. We just want to make sure that the procedures throughout the year are effective, so that, you know, if there were any errors, you know, significant errors or misappropriation, that the procedures would catch those errors. And so we do, we're basically stating that the financial statements appear correct in based on all of our testing. And then the other piece of it is the compliance piece, because LAVTA does receive so many government grants and contracts. So like there's the Measure B, B, and F that come from ACTC. So those all have certain program requirements, and so we do perform the compliance audit related to that with TDA, as well as so the federal grants, we perform what we call a single audit under uniform guidance, and where there's, again, program audit requirements that we're looking at, not just the numbers, but even just certain compliance things, just, are they filing the reports that they're supposed to be filing? Have they reviewed for eligibility? Has there been proper matching? There's a lot of different steps that we have to go through in order to basically say that we feel from our testing that LAVTA is following all of the program requirements related to that. So that's kind of the basics of what we're performing in these audits.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, Kathy, I think you're muted.
Brittany, any questions? Okay. All right, so we just need to, we've reviewed, and discussed it, and I think that's all you need, Tamara, is that correct, or Vicky?
Yes, she just needs to notify you and let you know that if you have any concerns to contact her. And
Right.
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you all. See you,
Thank
I guess, in a couple months to go over the financial statement draft. So
Thank you.
everyone have a great day. Okay,
All right,
you.
thanks. Good to see you. Okay, moving on to number 7, the pension liability assessment.
Okay. So we have contracted with the company to perform a pension liability assessment, basically an assessment on the health of our pension and our pension liabilities, short-term and long-term. They've actually said that we're in really good shape, and they haven't seen this year's numbers, though. That was based on last year's numbers. They said that we're in really good shape. This would be in addition to our 115 trust. So it would coincide with that. And what they have offered to do, and it's really up to you guys, because I know that, your schedules are even crazier than mine. What they would like to do and what I would like to do is have them bring to the F&A committee, because, you guys are the finance, kind of some presentations. They want to do it because it's going to take some time. Presentations on, where we are and then where we could be, and how, so that we can set a policy for how we want to move forward funding our pension liabilities, because we don't actually have a policy for that. We have a policy for our OPEB, but we never did one for our pension liabilities. So they would like to basically come and meet with you guys as a group and educate you on this and walk you through it so that you guys can decide what you want that policy to look like. However, the person that needs to do it happens to be on the fire board of the community he lives in. And guess when they meet? Second and fourth Tuesday of the month. I don't think it's at 4 p.m. because he's in Eastern time. I think it's 7 p.m. So I wanted to give you guys some alternatives. We could have the F&A committee meet with him, have him come to our meetings, but meet on a different day than we're currently meeting. Or if maybe not all of you are even interested in pension assessments. I found it interesting, but I suspect most people would not. We could also create an ad hoc committee of board members, so it wouldn't have to be the Finance and Administration Committee. The last option is to have me work with them and bring a recommendation to the committee, which we can do, but I really kind of like the idea of getting some of the board members, preferably the committee, all the knowledge that he has to share on this. And maybe you guys know a ton about pensions and pension liabilities and how that all works, but I'm thinking not everybody on the board does. So I thought it'd be good to have him come and talk to everybody and do this education. But again, the time constraints. So I wasn't sure which way. I'm just looking for direction on what you guys want to do.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, I
Go
actually
ahead,
thought it would
Melissa.
be helpful for them to go ahead and come back, whether we change the time or the hour, but to have them come and talk to us with regards to the pension liability, and then we can turn around and take it to the board. I know a little bit about it, just because I did financials for 20 something years for a small private office. But I think it'd be important for us to kind of have an understanding before we take it to the board, a better understanding before we take it to the board, and then turn around and have them vote on it.
Okay, that was kind of my thought too.
Yeah, I am not even going to pretend and say that I know. I know that Livermore has gone through a huge transformation with our pension liability, but that's just because we made it better doesn't mean I understand really how we made it better. So I would appreciate the education. I'm fine with moving it to a different day. I don't want to add an extra meeting.
Right.
So that's my only preference. So if we move this to a time that works for that person, that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe we can just fold in the rest of the agenda.
Yes.
At
Yeah.
that point, so we don't have to have the extra meeting.
Yeah, I wanted to do just a different day, but the meeting, not two meetings.
Did the guy, did he give you any indication, how much time he would need or he thought he would need?
He was thinking he was going to need 45 minutes to an hour over 3
Okay.
meetings. The way he prefers to present it is kind of like, let's do the first one and then they have some time to mull it over and then we do the second one, which I know we're running out of time because I didn't realize till the other day, Kathy, that you were terming out.
I
Like,
am.
I think I knew that, but I don't think I realized it. Like, it didn't hit me. So, I mean, if we can get everybody pulled, if we could do like September, October, November, bring it to the board in December, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know if that's asking a lot, but, and, I can explain to him why I would really like to have this, done
Yeah.
quickly.
I know that he likes to break it up into 3, but could he break it into 2?
If you guys are willing to have a longer meeting. I want to be respectful of your guys' time. I mean, and I can ask him, could you condense it to 2, not more than an hour each, or, would he need like an hour and a half each? I'm sure he'd be flexible. He's been great to work with.
Yeah.
I'm fine with 2 meetings.
I prefer to.
Yeah.
Okay, let me,
Yeah,
I will have Jennifer poll everybody. I will talk to him and then have Jennifer poll everybody for what day, like, maybe it's the 4th Monday or Wednesday or whatever. I don't know what you guys' schedules look like. And we can set that. And then that will just be our F&A meeting. We don't have anything super exciting coming to F&A in the next couple months that I know of. Other than the ACFR. But that's usually end of October. So yeah, and that doesn't usually actually take very long. But so yeah, let me see if we can get that kicked off because I would like to get it done and a decision made sooner rather than later.
Okay. All right. So we'll just look for some kind of Google poll or something to find a date.
Yeah, let me check with him and then I will put Jennifer on it and you will probably, knowing her, you will hear from her first thing in the morning. Or within 30 minutes of me hearing back from him, you'll probably hear from Jennifer. So she's the expert on those doodle polls. So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's great. That's actually kind of what I was hoping you guys would say, because I would really like to have you guys get that kind of immersed education on it. I thought I knew about pension liability, but I learned a lot from him. So, and I've only been to what he would normally do in one sitting. So, very educational. I will tell you our agency's, in pretty good shape, but I would still like a policy so that we're always in good shape, is my thought.
Very on board with a policy so that we don't have to say, oh, well, we didn't have a policy. I don't know why we're in such terrible shape now.
Right.
All right. Moving on. Preview of the upcoming Finance and Administration Committee agendas.
Okay.
I have nothing to bring forward.
I have, like I said, September's not super exciting. Minutes and treasurer's report. October, we should have the ACFR and the minutes and treasurer's report. And then November, we normally cancel, but we'll see how things get scheduled, just because the meeting tends to be 2 days before Thanksgiving and everyone's busy. And then December, we have our minutes and treasurer's report. December tends to get canceled too, because it's always the week of Christmas. And then January, we have our minutes and our treasurer's report and hopefully our draft legislative report. provided Jennifer Yeamans is back, and she's supposed to be back in October part-time. So hopefully by January, she'll be feeling well enough to get that taken care of. So, and I will also share, although I'm knocking on wood for this one too, because I won't believe it till it actually happens, but we did have someone accept an offer for the capital projects management position. But he's not scheduled to start until November 12th. He said he was available September 9th, and then went on to tell us that his wife was due to give birth any day. And Tony and I went, you can't be here September 9th. You have to sell your house in Oxnard. You've got to pack everything up, and you're not going to be sleeping. So when we made the offer, we were like, look, we'd like you to start tomorrow, but we realize that's not realistic. What's the realistic date for you when you can be here and be focused? So he works presently for the city of Oxnard, doing kind of the same job. So he doesn't have experience with, bus shelters and that kind of thing, but we'll whip him into shape pretty quick, I think.
I'm sure his partner appreciates you reminding him that she's giving birth and she might need some support.
She gave birth, I think, Sunday or Monday. So I sent him the offer letter. He said he'd let Tony know when, he was available. And I sent the offer letter and I said, hopefully your wife's still not in labor and you're a new dad. Cause this was like, 36 hours later. So he seems like a really nice guy, his first baby. So I was like, yeah, you don't realize it. You're not going to be packing up and moving in 2 weeks. So, but yeah, he sounded like he really appreciated the fact that, we were willing to give him some time. So.
Okay, that's
I'm
great.
excited to have somebody.
Okay, any matters initiated? Okay, the next meeting, September 27th. And if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and adjourn.
All right.
See everybody. in a
Thank you,
bit.
everybody.